Hey guys, what's going on? Seth here. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to bulk skip trace a list using this service here called Direct Skip. There's several different services out there that can do pretty much the same thing, but I like Direct Skip because they seem to do pretty good at finding a lot of really good information. They have a really high hit rate. So to date, this is the one that I've had the best experience with. And you might be wondering, why are we doing this? So there's a lot of different reasons for doing this. And if you're not familiar with what skip tracing is in the first place, it's basically the action of trying to find current information on various property owners that we're trying to get a hold of by searching both public and private records. And there is another way to do this on an individual basis if you just have a single person where you're trying to find that info. There are different services out there that can be used for that purpose. But what if you have like 1,000 people or 10,000 people and you're trying to find this information for all of them without spending a whole lot of time or effort manually doing that searching on your own? That's where something like Direct Skip would come into play. You can upload your list into this system, and in just a matter of minutes, it will give you back a lot more contact details for each person on your list if it's able to find them. Things like phone numbers and email addresses, and even other people who are connected to them who might have information about where and how to contact this person that you're targeting. So that's what a bulk skip tracing service like Direct Skip can do for you. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do right here in this video. And if you use a data service to get your lists for the purpose of direct mail, then you don't really need to do this because all you need are the mailing addresses for those people so you can send that mail out. But what if you wanted to send them a text message or a ringless voicemail or an email or contact them in a multitude of other ways? Well, in order to do any of that stuff, you need to figure out what their best phone numbers are and their email address. And that's what you're going to get through something like Direct Skip. So the process is fairly simple. If you do want to check out Direct Skip, we do have an affiliate link to this website. It's retipster.com/Direct Skip. You can also find that link beneath this video. At the time of this recording, this is what their homepage looks like. And you can't really do anything until you sign up for your free account. So all you have to do is fill out these fields here. It's pretty simple. I'll go ahead and do that right now. And let's click on Get My Free Account. And then once you submit your information, you're going to get an email like this with your username and password and login details. You have to go to app.directskip.com and you'll see a page that looks something like this. Make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. So at the time of this recording, the cost for Direct Skip is 12 cents per hit. So that basically just means if they're able to find anything on the person, then that's 12 cents. And if they can't find anything, then you don't get charged for it. And all you have to do is go over here to your files and upload your first file. Now, the file that I'm using in this case is a list that I downloaded from DataTree, and there's not really a whole lot you have to do after you download your list. You don't need to like delete a bunch of stuff or reformat anything. It just needs to be a CSV or an Excel file, and you need to make sure that you map out the columns correctly once you get it uploaded. So all you gotta do is click Upload File. So let's go ahead and choose the file. So I'm going to do that. And then once I've got that file chosen, we're going to click Save, and it's going to upload that. Now, this next section is actually pretty important because if you don't get this right, Direct Skip is not going to understand what it's looking at. So in the original file I downloaded, you'll notice that it had this header section, and each column has a name to indicate what is in that column. So we want to make sure we're selecting the correct column header for each one of these inputs here. So for example, the last name, that would be column D here, which says owner one last name. So we're going to pick that right here. Now for the first name, in this case, that is column C, which says owner one first name. I'm going to click that. And then for mailing address, got to find where that's at. And we're looking for basically the street number, street name, and then anything else beyond that if it's included. So we don't want just the street name or just the street number. So we got to find that appropriate column. It looks like that is column AV, mailing street address. So find that here, mailing street address. Now, just so you know, if you did want to make this particular part easier, what you could do is get into this Excel file and copy and paste everything to a cleaner document. I'm not doing that here because I don't really need to, but if you prefer to do that, you can. And it could look like this, where you just see this blank spreadsheet with first name, last name, all this stuff. So if you get all the correct stuff copied and pasted into something like this, it'll just look a lot less confusing to find the stuff once you get it uploaded to Direct Skip. It's up to you, however you want to handle that. So I'm just going to quick zoom through the rest of this. All right, so now I've got this all entered in. I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now it's going to give us this one last chance to make sure everything is right. So we can take a look at this and match it up with our original list, make sure that everything looks consistent. So for example, if we saw here that the mailing zip code shows up in the property city column or something like that, this would be our opportunity to catch that and fix it before we proceed. Because if any of these things are wrong, then we're basically giving direct skip a bunch of jumbled up information, and it's going to be a lot harder to make sense of that and actually find contact info. And you won't get charged if it doesn't find anything, but still, why waste your time? Let's just make sure this thing is done right. So go ahead and double check all this and make sure everything looks correct. And once you know it's good to go ahead and move on to the next step. I've looked at these first three, everything is matching up. So I'm going to go ahead and click save and move on. Okay, so now it's given us our billing summary based on the credits we already had in this account and what it still needs to charge us. The cost is not too terrible for what this is. And we can also do this add-on with the DNC Litigator Scrub or the Owner Fix. And the DNC Litigator Scrub, so the idea behind this is once you start getting into like text marketing and things like that, there are some litigators out there who are basically just waiting for you to break the rules on accident and send them some kind of message so that they can then come after you. And the idea behind this is to remove those known numbers so that you're not even targeting them in the first place. And there's also this owner fix option. And from what I can gather from this explanation, it looks like it just searches extra hard, which is particularly relevant if you don't have all the information. Say if you only have the property address, but not their mailing address, or only their mailing address, but not their property address, it can just look through more details, apparently. So there is a cost associated with both of these things if you decide to check them. So I'm going to check this one. It's going to cost me an extra $8.12. And what the heck? Let's check this one too. And that's going to cost me another $8.12. And it looks like by default, it's only going to apply that owner fix to the records that don't come back with any hits. So it's not going to do it to all of them, although I could if I want to. This is only going to apply to the ones that otherwise I wouldn't have any information on. Let's go ahead and add a card number here and pay. All right, it says please wait for the email with a downloading link. Now we can see it's in progress. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this video on pause. I'm gonna keep track of the time to see how long it takes to get this information back, and then I will pick this back up once we get that email. Okay, so this did not take long. We can see I had submitted the order at 11:24 a.m. and the file was ready for download at 11:37 that same day. So what is that? 13 minutes? Not too bad. Let's go ahead and click on the email. It shows us a link to this file right here in our email. So let's go ahead and click this. It's going to download to my computer, and I'm just going to compare this new one with the original one. So I'm going to try to put them side by side here if I can, and I'm going to have to blur out some of this stuff for privacy reasons, but hopefully you can at least follow along and understand the differences between the two. So our original one is down here, and this is the new one. So it looks like on the new one, these headers have been updated to say input last name and input first name, just to kind of indicate these are the ones that you put in there as the first and last name, and so on, with mailing address and mailing city and all that stuff. So anytime you see input, that's what you input in there. And then as we move on down, so now we can see these that say owner fix. So it looks like these were the columns where when it needed to do the extra work, it did the extra work. And you can see those as we scroll down here. Doesn't look like there's a ton, but there's some. And when they do show up, you're not going to see this because I'm blurring it out, but looks like there is some slight differences between the original that I put in there versus what I brought back. Now moving on here. So on the new one, we can see, let's see, matched first name, matched last name. So I guess that means that's when it was able to actually find a match. And this is the DNC Litigator Scrub. And it's telling me one of a few different things. It's either saying no, which means it's not on the do not call list, or it says DNC, which means it is on the do not call list. So you might not want to call those ones. And occasionally, there's not a lot, but as you scroll down, you'll find ones like this where it says a litigator. I can only imagine that means they're a litigator. You're probably best off either removing them from your list or just make sure you don't call them, because you're probably asking for trouble if you do. And some of them are blank, and I'm assuming that just means it wasn't able to find any information, but most of these do have some kind of an answer on there. And then if we continue to move on, we'll find some new information that was not in our original list. We can see the person's age, which is kind of interesting. So say if you were only trying to reach out to people of a certain age range for whatever your purposes are, this would indicate who's who. So that's helpful to have. And then deceased. So most of these have an N in those cells, which would indicate that no, they're not deceased. They're still alive and kicking. In fact, I don't see anything that says yes or affirmative. And then this is where it starts to get really good. So we see phone 1, phone 2, and phone 3, and even phone 4 and phone 5, and phone 6. And phone 7, wow, there's a lot of phones. And by each phone number right next to it, it says phone 1 type, and phone 2 type, and phone 3 type, and it's indicating whether it is a mobile phone or a residential landline of some kind. There's also an option for other phone. I'm not sure what that is, but as I'm scrolling through this, it's all either mobile phones or residential phones. And you'll notice that in most cases, phone 1 is going to be mobile. And also phone 1 is probably where you're most likely to have the highest success. So if you could only use one phone number from all of these, start with phone 1. If that one doesn't work, then you can move on to phone 2 and phone 3 and so on. But again, usually you're going to have the best success with that first phone number. And depending on what kind of software you're using to send out texts or ringless voicemails or cold calling or whatever it is, you can usually load in those secondary phone numbers, however many you want, and then just move to that second and third and fourth phone number. But all the information is there. And then as we move on, we can also see email addresses. If you're into email marketing, or if you want to get into email marketing, which can be a heck of a lot less expensive than other forms of marketing with verified deliverability, and you can also use that information for other types of marketing that could be useful as well. And then moving on here, we've also got relative information, relative 1, and their age, and their phone number, and what kind of number that is, and also that relative's second phone number and what kind of phone that phone number is, and then relative number 2 and their age and their phone number and what kind of phone number that is, and relative 3 and relative 4 and relative 5. Kind of just goes on and on and on with all these different ways to contact people and figure out where they are. And depending on what you're using this for, you might want to take a single one of these line items and really dig in as far as you can, contacting every possible person you can to try to get a hold of that original owner, or maybe even find out, hey, was this property deeded to another family member? Maybe they're showing up in this list too. But whatever you plan to use this information for, and there's a lot of potential uses to search a lot further than you would otherwise be able to if you just had your raw list with the property information and the person's mailing address, which is certainly helpful. But when you compare it to something like this, you can see it really falls short in terms of giving you all the useful information you could ever want to either try to find where that person is if they seem to be missing, or just try to reach out to them with a different type of marketing medium altogether. So that's Direct Skip for you. I hope you found this useful, and I hope you find Direct Skip helpful if you decide to use them. Again, if you do want to help support retipster.com, we've got an affiliate link to Direct Skip right beneath this video. Feel free to use that. And if you've already got a solid solution for your skip tracing, I wish you all the best with that. Talk to you next time.